solid, you can start.
You're solid.
You're good.
The August 26th meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
Dr. Vogt?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
And Mr. Vieira is absent this evening.
We will now recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Okay, tonight we have two presentations. The first one will be done by the mayor, Hunger Action Month.
Good evening. Yes, so I'm going to read a proclamation that recognizes September as Hunger Action Month. It was given to us by former Lieutenant Governor Godano. And I just would like to say she has been very helpful with our food pantries here in Long Branch, especially, with the crisis with the pandemic that's taking place. And I guess it was several months ago, there were, as you know, we have several food pantries here in Long Branch, and I reached out to her, and she was just basically gave us all we needed. So we distributed on our own to some of the pantries that weren't able to use Fulfill, and I believe we still have a storage of some crisis boxes that we can use any time. So I'd like to take a moment just to read the proclamation, if I may, because I think it's very important. So again, this is in recognition of Hunger Action Month in September. So whereas hunger and poverty are issues of grave concern in the United States, and particularly in the state of New Jersey, and whereas Long Branch is committed to taking steps to raise awareness about the need to combat hunger, and whereas Long Branch is committed to working with Fulfill, formerly the Food Bank of Monmouth and Ocean counties, to educate people about the role and importance of food banks in addressing hunger and to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. I should say that the former Lieutenant Governor now heads Fulfill, which is obviously why I reached out to her. And whereas more than 215,000 individuals in Monmouth and Ocean counties now rely on food provided by Fulfill and its partners since the beginning of the pandemic, and whereas the unemployment level is the highest it's ever been in the history of the state, and the poverty level for a family of four is $25,465, and 9.5% of families live below that level. And whereas since March 13, 2020, Fulfill has provided almost 2 million meals, including 16,000 more meals per day than the year before, and 903,000 of those meals were provided to Monmouth County residents. And whereas due to the pandemic, 1 in every 6 people in Monmouth and Ocean counties received emergency food from Fulfill and their network of food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and other community organizations. And whereas food banks across the country, including Fulfill, will host numerous events throughout the month of September to bring awareness and attention to encourage involvement in efforts to end hunger in their local communities. Now, therefore, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Long Branch hereby proclaim September to be Hunger Action Month in Long Branch and call this observance to the attention of its citizens. Presented this 26th day of August, 2020 by the Mayor and City Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The next presentation, Overdose Awareness Day, the proclamation will be read by Councilwoman Vogt.
Thank you, Vice President Selly. Well, so this proclamation also addresses a very serious social issue that we have, and this actually has to do with the opioid addiction. Let me just remind everyone, one of the first things that this administration, that the mayor had pulled together was a task force that is called HERES, to do what we could do to help fight this horrible epidemic in Long Branch. So Overdose Awareness Day is actually an international day, and the whole intent of this day is to spread awareness for people to know the extent of this epidemic, and also to create an opportunity for people to share thoughts about loved ones who they may have lost, people who are struggling with this disease. So it's an important day, in dealing with this whole situation. Let me read you the proclamation and then also tell you another event that we're going to be having actually on Monday. So this is a City of Long Branch proclamation, and it starts, whereas the United States is in the midst of a drug overdose epidemic. Over 67,300 people died of overdoses in 2018. 67,300 people died in 2018 from overdoses. Just imagine some of these numbers. 128 people die from an opioid overdose every day in the United States. Unfortunately, Long Branch is, and throughout Monmouth County, Long Branch is one of the municipalities where the epidemic is the strongest. Whereas there are 3,021 deaths of overdose in New Jersey in 2019, according to the Office of the New Jersey State Medical Examiner, and whereas addiction is a disease, and International Overdose Awareness Day strives to raise awareness and reduce the stigma of substance use-related deaths. And whereas International Overdose Awareness Day acknowledges the grief felt by families and friends who have been impacted by this disease, and seeks to send a strong message to current and former substance users that they are valued and that they are supported. And whereas this day provides an opportunity for people to publicly mourn for loved ones, some for the first time, without feeling guilt or shame. And whereas the Mayor's Task Force on Substance Abuse, named HERES, was established in Long Branch as a community initiative through health, education, addiction, and recovery support. HERES provides the leadership to build bridges between service providers and available resources to address addiction issues in the City of Long Branch, and serves in an advisory capacity to the Mayor and the City Council. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and the City Council of Long Branch that August 31st, 2020 is Overdose Awareness Day in Long Branch, and that all citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, hospitals, and schools in Long Branch should cultivate a culture of caring and enhanced engagement around addiction and eliminate the stigma associated with this disease. Presented on the 26th day of August 2020, signed by the Mayor and by the City Council President, Mario Rivera. One other thing that is happening, and this will be posted on the city website, is the moment of remembrance that we will be having on Monday, which is August 31st at noontime, right here in City Hall. Those of you that have a chance to just come by City Hall, right, even now, you'll see there are 99 purple flags that are around the flower gardens around City Hall. Each one of those flags represents one person who died from January to June in Monmouth County from an overdose. Unfortunately, in Long Branch, after most recently, we actually had another person very close to many of us who suffered a loss of a family member due to an overdose. So 100 people in Monmouth County so far this year. We're going to have the purple ribbons signify the remembrance of overdose. It's the color of overdose. And at 12 o'clock, we're going to have a number of speakers. The mayor will be speaking. Freeholder Kiley will be here. Congressman Frank Pallone will be here. Senator Gopal will be here. Assemblyman Hotelling, all of whom have a very personal story to share about this and to recognize and to help the very important effort with this day, which is to spread awareness and to help people be able to grieve in public again without that stigma. So it'll be streamed live on Facebook, and if you can come, we'll certainly bring your mask and social distancing outside of City Hall, just to share in this very important moment. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Next item is the reading and approval of previous minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of August 12th, 2020.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
And Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Council President, there's an item that needs to be added to the agenda. Would this be the appropriate time to do so?
I can't hear him.
There's an item that needs to be added to the agenda. Is this the appropriate time to do so?
Item to be added to the agenda.
Okay.
If I can. Council President, we need to, as you know, we've been having discussions, and it has been reported in the press, the fact that there have been some developments with regards to the Lower Broadway project. As a result of notice that we received from the owner of the property, they have advised us that their contract for sale to what we can call, I guess, the Kushner entities has been terminated. Therefore, we need to put onto the agenda tonight a resolution that rescinds Resolution 25-20, which was adopted January 22nd, 2020, and which authorized the assumption of the redevelopment agreement by the Kushner entities, and also authorized us to enter into a redevelopment agreement and designate them as a developer. So I believe the clerk has handed all of this out, so I need a Madam Clerk, can you tell me what number this resolution would be?
It will be 170-20, sir.
Right, so I would ask that 170 be added to your consent agenda. And I think we have to do that by motion,
Before-
and a second and a roll call.
Before we vote on the resolutions, I would like to tell you that there were two added this evening. The first one was R-16920, resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Long Branch supporting the New Jersey Department of Transportation recommendation for left turn prohibited along Route 36 and Grand Avenue.
And the second being
Last
170.
one is resolution R-130-20, resolution of the mayor and city council of Long Branch rescinding resolution 25-20 adopted in January 22nd, 2020.
So we need a motion
Going
to add
on.
this to the agenda?
So moved.
Consideration of ordinances, public hearing, and final consideration.
Yeah.
There are none.
Council President, we need to vote on adding those matters to the agenda, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rodone, I cannot hear you.
We need a motion to add those two items to the agenda. So I think you had a mover in a second, so you need either a voice vote or a roll call vote on adding.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
And Dr. Selly?
Thank you.
Yes.
I apologize. Thank you.
There are no ordinances for introduction. Now we come to the public participation for resolutions and all general comments. I need a motion to open the public portion of the meeting for all comments.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. If any member of the public has any comments to make, please dial *9 on your phone, and a representative will call on you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When you are called upon, state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have only 5 minutes to speak.
Caller whose phone number ends in 350. Go ahead. Mary.
Yeah.
Okay. 350, you'll have to unmute your phone.
Ernest McNally, 400 Deal Lake Drive, Asbury Park, born in Long Branch. Am I commenting on the ordinance and resolutions, or only the 5-minute public part?
It's the same thing. There's no ordinances.
Well, it can't be the same thing, because the time of 5 minutes is for public
Public comment,
The
Mr.
resolutions
McNally.
that you introduced, you could ask for a comment, and if you do, why should that time come out of the general time?
The answer is this is public hearing and final consideration. This is on public participation on the resolutions. There are no ordinances on.
Okay, so there's no public comment on what you're doing other than just the regular public comment session?
Correct.
Okay, can I start fresh now at 5 minutes?
No.
Oh, good, thanks a lot. Well, then I'll kind of return the favor. So, it's come to my attention on the 13th of August in Ocean, New Jersey on Asbury Avenue, a well-known person to Long Branch and Long Branch politics, Long Branch police, Long Branch firemen, et cetera, a family, Krista Richter DeLisa, was arrested and jailed for child endangerment of an infant, possession of weapons, handguns, shotguns, rifles, hollow point bullets. The residence was like an El Chapo residence, right? The friend was arrested also. DYFS and the Ocean Township Police, by court order and judge, removed the infant to protective custody. Now, I find it interesting that when the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Township Police Nixle hit, they did Monday, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 days later. Now, how do they describe the main subject? As Krista Richter. Now, if this isn't a cover-up for her brother, her father, I should say, Peter DeLisa, who is so inseparably, and in many people's opinion, corruptly involved with Long Branch, police, firemen, and government. He's flying you guys around, he's involved in politics, he's doing deals, he's running fundraisers, he's raising money to get Pallone and Pallone out of office, with Roebuck and the Deal police chief, former Long Branch cop, Ronan Newman. I mean, they're destroying Long Branch, and you people sit there like they're your friends. So now you have someone charged with felonies, and the prosecutor who's involved with the Lisa and the sheriff and the Tom Arnone, Ross Placitra, everybody I'm talking about, right? They're all covering this thing up now. It's not on the Monmouth County Prosecutor Facebook page where all crimes go, etc. They're not putting it there because they want to make sure that your Peter DeLisa of Long Branch doesn't get implicated with his daughter again, like they did with the death of Deal Police Captain Earl Alexander. You remember him, a fiance of Krista Richter DeLisa. It's in the papers. Next thing you know, involved with Peter DeLisa, Debbie DeLisa, and Krista DeLisa, he winds up dead, overdose, every drug known to man, drunk, his marriage ruined, his life ruined, right? And that's all covered up. So where do we go with all this? It's a merry-go-round, and y'all should be exposed for it because your last administration fostered it. This guy DeLisa failed the Long Branch police application test decades ago. He was declared psychologically unfit to be a police officer, and I don't know about the physical part, but his psychological profile was so bad that your captains who tested him sent out notice all over the state. If this guy shows up to be a cop, don't hire him, okay? Anyway, that's FBI record, by the way, those failed psych exams. So now he goes to his garbage family, garbage empire family, I don't want to disrespect anybody, and says, "Mom, I want to be a cop." "Oh, don't worry, we'll make you a cop in Miami at Miami-Dade," right? He goes there. He gets thrown off, threatening people with guns. He thinks he's Don Johnson, you know, the guy with the cigarette boat? Gets thrown out of there. Then he goes to the Bergen prosecutor, and he caused such turmoil there, lawsuits and discord, and he got thrown out of there. So then what does he do? "I want a gun." "All right, well, go to your friend Ross LaCitra, right, the former West Long Branch cop, Monmouth County detective, chief of the Monmouth County ASPCA, and he'll make you a dog catcher with a Glock." And that's what we have now. Peter DeLisa.
Thank you,
A
Mr.
dog
Gonzalez,
catcher
for your
with-
comments, sir.
Caller whose phone number ends in 832. Go ahead. *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, we'll move on. Caller whose phone number ends in 175. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Laureen O'Donnell. I live at 197 6th Avenue, Unit 1 in Long Branch, New Jersey. And I have two concerns, and I hope this is the time that I could do that. There's quite a few people that drive up and down our street very fast. And when I'm usually outside watering my lawn, I'll yell, "Slow down, please." But they don't. Okay. And in fact, one of the people got to the corner and gave me the finger. So now our street goes right to where the pool's going to be. And we are afraid that there's going to be a lot of traffic on our street. Can anything be done to maybe check the speed that the people are driving, or because we have kids that live in our buildings, you know, our houses, and it's just a little scary, you know. That's one of my concerns. And with the pool, you know, our street, and I know quite a few streets too, that get flooded. This last time with the warning for the tornado, when it came down in buckets, the street looked like a river, 6th Avenue. And it took a while for it to go down, and the bottom half of our street still had a lot of water that you couldn't drive through. It took a while for that to go down. That's, you know, I really like the idea of the pool, but we need to make sure that the water problems aren't going to be worse. So that's all I have to say. And I really want to thank everybody, Mayor Pallone and the council, for doing a great job.
Thank you. So to your first question, we'll certainly let the police department know. And we have a couple, I believe we have 2 or 3 digital signs that we can rotate and put, you know, at specific locations. So we could certainly get that on the list and put that down on 6th Avenue. But I'm sorry, can I get your name and your phone number? Or if you want to call, can you call Susan tomorrow at just the mayor's office at City Hall? And then I'll just be sure to get your address, and maybe we can go down and take a look and see where that digital sign, when it's available, where we could place it that would be most effective, you know, to your thoughts.
Okay.
So that,
now,
let me, if I can give you...
What's your phone number?
It's 732-571-5645 or 5640. and it would either be Susan or Lindsay, and just leave a message for me. Just mention that you called in at the council meeting, and leave me your phone number. I don't want to ask for it now, and then I'll give you a call and get this information to the police department and see if we can get on that list.
Okay, that I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Do you want my number now or?
Well, no. Because I only don't want it because you're in public here. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but call
Thank
me.
you.
But
I'll
definitely
call
call tomorrow and leave it tomorrow, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, caller whose number ends in 198. Go ahead. *6 to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch. Can you hear clearly?
Yes, we
Can you
hear
hear?
you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I request 1 minute notification. I'm starting now. Not too long ago, I requested on an Oprah the police report by Government Strategy. The Oprah denied me that report. Administrator Jackson stated it was an interdepartmental document. This evening on West End Long Branch NJ Watchdogs, that report will be made public by Garden State Strategy, Government Strategy Group, on the police department. It's entitled The Government Strategy Police Audit, and it's very disturbing about our police department. More disturbing is the selfishness of Mayor Pallone and this council for wasting another year and $40,000 of taxpayer money for this report, in which this report stated what everybody knew all along, and you jeopardized the public safety for another year. I'm going to read a very important paragraph in this report. Quote, in addition to the above, during the course of conducting interviews in the police department for this review, a GSG team member was provided a dossier of alleged improprieties in the department. GSG is not in a position to pass judgment on these allegations and turn this dossier over to the city's legal department. End quote. This is why a year ago, better than a year ago, I requested the Attorney General come in and save the taxpayers $40,000. Because had that dossier been turned over to the State Attorney General, he would have already filed charges against members of LBPD right now. You failed. The Pallone administration has failed. And what's the course of remedy in this report? To name a public safety director, which you've been discussing in executive session for the past 2 months. So we have to go with a public safety director now to babysit a police chief and a police department. A police chief, Roebuck, who throughout this report has been criticized, and has been criticized by our own mayor, city administrator, and council members for lack of cooperation with them. And then they name a whole bunch of incidents. Why the police chief should be removed and then put a civilian director in. I'm going to read a final paragraph on this. Quote, by common objective standards, such an environment is not conducive to good management, especially in a quasi-military organization like a police department, which must function with a clear chain of command in order to protect and serve the public. End quote. Our police department's failing, and the Pallone administration clearly failed. Now to the bad stuff, if it can't get any worse with Team Pallone. Dennis Sherman, head of Long Branch Condo Association. Your wife, Anita Boak, councilwoman. Listen to what I got to say tonight about taxes on your condos where you live. Ocean Point Towers, Ocean View Towers, 33-unit boardwalk, fronting situated on 1.21 acres and comprised of 27 two-story duplexes and 6 single-story units. Located at 510 Ocean Avenue. 3 units sold during 2019 for $682, $652, and $630,000. All 3 sales were from among the 1,504 square foot duplexes. Based upon those sales, the city assessor increased your land portion of the 27 duplexes
Mr. Laporte,
assessment
you have 1 minute,
for
sir.
2020 by $110,000 in each. Hello, did you give me a warning?
Yes, sir, 1 minute.
Addition to making nominal increases to the improvement portion of the assessments, Ocean View Tower's 6 slightly smaller 1,128 square units received $100,000 each in increase. The problem being, so based on the 3 prior years' sales in 2019, the city assessor in 2020 increased Ocean View Condos land assessment, all 33 units, by $3,570,000, or just over 29%. This is sickening. Mr. Sherman, you are in a position as head of the Long Branch Condo Association to take action against this council, to scrap the city's participation in the county assessment demonstration program, or either go with a 3-year rolling average of assessments to calculate property taxes, to relieve not only your condo association members, but the people citywide
Thank you,
from
Mr.
the
Laporte, for your
struggling
comments, sir.
taxes they're paying in this city.
No other callers.
No other callers.
I need a motion to close the public portion of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We can take the listed resolutions, R-158 through 20, R-170-20, as a consent agenda. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler,
Yes.
Dr. Vogt,
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes,
Yes.
and Dr. Selly.
Yes. There are no applications this evening, and we will go on to miscellaneous business for the good of the order. Councilman Dangler.
Thank you, Ms. Ellie. This evening, I would just like to extend my prayers to the young man who was shot in Wisconsin, the Blake family. We're going through tough times with the pandemic and still fighting with Black Lives Matter issues, so that all citizens are treated fairly and equally. And this is still a struggle that we're still going through, and I just hope that at some point we all wake up and treat each other with the respect that we do deserve. The other comment that I have is there was, I think, a resolution for the county to in support of women's rights to vote, and it sort of stunned me in regards to the fact that in our Constitution, all men are created equal. Everyone should be, every U.S. citizen should be allowed to vote, and we should not have to keep coming back every 30, 40, 50 years like we also did for the Civil Rights Act in 1964, and then in 2014 or 2015 for blacks to vote. This is one of our rights here in the United States, and hopefully someone much higher position, elected position that we have here, will understand that maybe we may need to look at the Constitution of the United States and just change that we should not have to revisit some ethnic group or gender, male, female, what have you, black, white, brown, having the right to vote. We all have that right. It is an important right, and we have an important election coming up, and everyone has that right to exercise their choice on who they believe will be the right person for this country. And lastly, I know soon, I don't know exactly the date, schools will be starting again, and at some level, and we just pray that everyone is safe and the students continue to get the best education that they possibly can. Thank you and good evening.
Councilwoman Vogt?
Thank you. So every now and then, we really need a very nice moment of Long Branch pride. Let me tell you an experience that I was able to have along with several others just about a week ago. And it's an example, it's a woman who really is a role model for all of us, who took pain and suffering and translated that into a very good cause, and a project that ended up in raising $10,000 for brain cancer. And just very briefly, it is a woman, Isabel, and I might not be pronouncing this correctly, Feria, who is very active with our Portuguese center. And she lost two people, a father and a very close friend of hers, to brain cancer, which of course, just the emotional reaction that any one of us would go through with that. And rather than not taking action, she is a bike rider, and she said, I'm going to ride across the country, and I'm going to make stops, and I'm going to raise money to, to fight brain cancer. She started 63 days ago, a little bit longer now because she's been home for about a week. 63 days, she dipped her bike in the Pacific Ocean, and then for 63 days, she rode an average of 60 miles to come to Long Branch, of course, where she lives, so she could dip the wheel of her bike into the Atlantic Ocean. And she came into town, I think it was last Sunday that she came into town, and there were a bunch of us to greet her, and it was such a proud moment for so many reasons. First of all, for the money that she was able to raise, but also just the role model who took a challenge and said, I'm not going to let it get me down, but I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do something about it. If you go on Facebook, you can, it's 2020 Pacific to Atlantic. If you wanted to make a contribution, I think about her often as someone, who set an example for all of us that I think is wonderful. Keep that in mind as we go into the next 2 weeks before we see you again, and think, for each one of us, how do we turn some of these challenges into real opportunities to make a difference? And with that, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you for that very much. Councilwoman Wittes.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to mention that last night we had the planning board, master plan meeting for public participation. And I'd like to thank Mayor Pallone and Mrs. Newman, Mr. Graviano, and Mr. Jackson for doing a very good job. One of the participants mentioned about holding community meetings, and we have in the past. We've had town hall meetings, and I just wanted to let you know that once we get through this COVID epidemic, we're going to continue to have these meetings so that we can hear your suggestions and your concerns in order to make this a better city in which to live. And I just wanted to mention that. And I'd like to wish everyone well, and thank you for listening this evening, and we'll see you or listen to you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Mayor Pallone.
Thank you, Council Vice President. I'm just going to repeat something Dr. Vogt said. Our Here's Overdose Awareness Day event is on Monday, August 31st. That's next Monday at 12 noon. I want to thank the Here's Committee, of which Councilwoman Vogt is a member, for their commitment to this cause and for all the work they do to aggressively build bridges between service providers and available resources to address addiction issues here in the city of Long Branch. Thank you for the display of purple flags in front of City Hall that represent the number of people who we've lost just this year in Monmouth County to an overdose. I also want to thank our Long Branch Recreation Department and all the families that have participated in our August activities, from fishing to kite flying to the scavenger hunt in Jackson Woods. All the programs were carefully chosen to bring our residents safe, happy fun. And we look forward to and will continue these programs, and we plan to do some things for adults as well in September. And today we had a grab and go event at the Senior Center. It was really well attended, and we're happy to see our senior members back at the center again for a safe, socially distant event. And we also look forward to future events there and to be able to offer new and safe programs. I just want to wish everybody a great week, and thank you for tuning in.
I have one thing I'd like to say tonight, and I was remiss at the last council meeting. Our previous city clerk, Kathy, was with us for 30 years, and I had the pleasure of working with her for a good 26 of those years. She did a wonderful job for the city. She cared about the city. She cared about the members of council. Matter of fact, she cared about the whole city, and she didn't even live in Long Branch. So it just goes to prove Long Branch is a great place to live, a great place to shop. And all I could say is, Kathy, I wish you good luck in all your future endeavors, and certainly lots of good health. Thank you. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And with that, I'll say good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
I can't hear you.
Yes, there's a lot on the agenda tonight.
Hi, thank you, sir. Good night. See ya.
Gonna try to come Monday, but I gotta get a ride, so I'll see.
Okay. Here, can I help you here? Let me hold the chair behind you.
I gotta
Scoot out.